What does it mean to be human in today's world? We live in an era of unprecedented connection, yet somehow we've never been more disconnected. Digital spaces dominate our conversations, AI driven algorithms shape our interactions, and civic engagement is at an all time low. But here's the truth: we still have the power to reclaim meaningful connection. Volunteerism is not just service, it's resistance against isolation, a reimagining of what it means to build community. Today, I introduce you to Project Paraclete, a call to action for intentional, engaged citizenship. Every society shapes its people, its values, its fears, and its desires through what Eric Fromm called social character. Fromm, a psychologist and philosopher, argued that capitalism molds individuals into isolated, self interested beings, prioritizing material gain over human connection. In essence, our economic system doesn't just dictate what we do, it shapes who we become. But today, this crisis of connection has deepened. AI driven recommendation systems reinforce social fragmentation, keeping people locked in self reinforcing digital echo chambers. Instead of fostering genuine relationships, technology often creates algorithmic isolation, where engagement is curated not for meaningful interaction, but for maximum screen time. Put simply, our social character has shifted toward individualism and passive consumption, but volunteerism offers an antidote, an active, intentional way to reclaim trust, community, and meaningful engagement. Through service, we resist isolation and reshape the way we connect with the world. Volunteerism is often thought of as a way to help others, but studies show it's just as transformative for the volunteer. Isolation during COVID 19 inspired an Australian study with adult volunteers that examined how loneliness, motivation, and social engagement interact, revealing a crucial truth. Socially motivated volunteerism reduces loneliness, particularly social and romantic loneliness. In a world where isolation is becoming the norm, this research proves that engagement isn't just beneficial, it's essential. The study found that those who volunteered for 10 or more years, as well as those with strong social motivations for volunteering, reported lower loneliness levels. This means that volunteering isn't just a tool for service, it actively rebuilds personal well being. This research reminds us that our motivations matter. When we choose engagement, we're not just showing up for others, we're showing up for ourselves, reclaiming purpose in a society that often pushes isolation. In 1995, Robert Putnam published a groundbreaking article that later became his book, Bowling Alone, revealing a troubling trend. Americans were becoming less engaged in their communities. Fewer people were joining civic organizations, attending town meetings, or participating in collective efforts. The result? A decline in social capital, or the invisible threads that hold communities together. At the time, Putnam's research was largely focused on changes in American life due to television and suburbanization. But today, his warning feels even more urgent. Social media, AI driven personalization, and algorithmic isolation have deepened the disconnect he first identified. Instead of gathering in physical spaces, like churches, community centers, and neighborhood meetings, people now engage through curated digital experiences, interacting mostly with those who reinforce their existing beliefs. But research shows that volunteerism can reverse this fragmentation. When people actively engage in their communities, they rebuild trust, forge stronger relationships, and counteract the forces pushing towards isolation. Studies like the Australian Adult Volunteer Study confirm that long term civic engagement directly lowers loneliness, especially for retirees, those in stable relationships, and those with strong motivations for volunteering. Putnam warned us that disengagement leads to distrust. If we don't rebuild social capital through intentional, volunteer driven action, we risk becoming a society of isolated individuals rather than connected communities. Volunteerism is more than just giving back. It's one of the most powerful forces for systemic change. Every major social movement, from civil rights to environmental justice, was built on volunteer driven action, fueled by ordinary people stepping forward to reshape their communities. This impact is clear across generations. In another Australian study, this time with volunteer youth, found that young volunteers experience significant growth in confidence, leadership, and civic engagement, showing that early involvement strengthens their long term commitment to activism and social change. When youth are empowered through volunteering, they become lifelong participants in shaping society and not just observers of it. Together, these studies prove that volunteerism isn't just individual service, it's a system level intervention that shapes trust, civic responsibility, and long term engagement. If we structure opportunities correctly, volunteering has the power to not only reduce loneliness, but also build more resilient communities that actively challenge systemic barriers. Now, this isn't just about volunteerism. This is about taking back the narrative of what it means to be connected. The question isn't whether we can make an impact, it's whether we will. And I have three challenges that I want you to leave with. The first being to seek engagement over passive interaction. As Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic, said, argue not what it means to be a good person and just be one. Challenge systems that reinforce isolation. So get out of the chat rooms, get out of the echo chambers that we talked about. And the third being, recognize that transformation begins with conscious, deliberate action. What steps will you take to reclaim connection? This is about creating a society where connection is intentional, where community is valued, and where service is the foundation of how we rebuild what's been lost. Let's stop waiting for institutions to fix our broken systems. And let's stop assuming that social trust will restore itself when we are the ones that are fully capable of restoring it ourselves. Through engagement, through service, and through a commitment to something larger than ourselves. Project Paraclete isn't just an idea, it's a commitment to building something better. The future doesn't shape us, we shape the future. Thank you for your time.